I'm off first here. When Fabienne called me and asked me to speak, which I was very grateful for, Fabienne Gonzalez and the Clever Group to invite me, I asked her, what would you like me to speak about? And he said, well, abre de tu libro, speak about your thing, right? I said, well, I guess as I'm here as the president of Mujeres in Hospitality, Women in Hospitality in Spain, that's what I will talk about, women in hospitality. So, without further ado, just some large and major numbers from the sector of tourism and travel. In 2019, before the pandemic, this sector generated 10% of the global GDP. And in Spain, we're at 16% already this year if we include indirect impact as well. And 2024 levels will probably exceed 2019 levels worldwide. Travel and tourism employs 300 million people as of 2023, when we're still not fully recovered from the pandemic. And we're expected to reach 430 million people worldwide by 2033, in another 10 years. More than half of these, of the workforce is women, which is very important. It's actually a higher percentage than the cross-sectorial on a global level. So women normally represents about 34–35% of total workforce. But in tourism, it is as high as 50%. And that's also important because many of these women work in less developed countries, in developing countries, in poorer countries. And if they hadn't worked in tourism, they wouldn't have many other options. So tourism and travel provide the opportunity for them to become financially independent. We have a lower wage gap than the rest of the economy. Not much lower, but slightly lower, which we can be proud of, but there's still a wage gap, so we definitely have work to do there. Now, as we talk about women in hospitality, there are some inspiring women on a global level. I just mentioned a very few. There are many of them. Angela Brav, CEO of luxury style brands, and she used to be the CEO of Europe and Africa and Intercontinental. An outstanding woman. Katie Taylor, ex-CEO of Four Seasons Hotels and Resorts, the Canadian luxury brand that you all know very well. Lina Oberg, CFO of Marriott International, the largest hotel company in the world. And Gilda Perez Alvarado, who I had the luxury to work with in the beginning of her career when she was at JLL here in Spain. She made a spectacular career within the company. She became the CEO of JLL Hospitality worldwide, and she is now the Chief Strategic Officer of Accor. She's from Costa Rica, and I think it's quite outstanding where she has managed as a Latin woman in a very Anglo-Saxon male world. In Spain, I will also just mention a very few. Encarna Piñero, CEO of Grupo Piñero, Carmen Riu, and Sabina Fluxá. These three women all come from hotel families and family-owned companies, but they have taken over the leadership of these companies and have extraordinary results and are a great example for all of us. We have Monica Isen-Segar, the GM of Four Seasons here in Madrid, Alice Faveux, an entrepreneur, and Mara Alguacil, and we have many other. She was one of the first pilots in Iberia, which was very, very male-dominated work. And there are many of them, and I will come back to that. So, since we represent 50% of the sector, of the workforce in the sector, and we have many inspiring women across the world and here locally in Spain, so what about CEO levels? So I made a list of the largest hotel companies in the world with their respective CEO. And I have marked the female CEOs in red so you can easily spot them. These are the largest hotel groups. Oh, look at that. There's none. There's not one female CEO among the largest hotel groups, when more than 50% of their workforce are women. Spain were a little bit better off. Carmen Riu and Sabina Fruxá enters into that list of the 10 largest hotel groups. Taking airlines, very similar picture there. 4 out of 50 airlines have female CEOs, less than 10%. And if we could go on with travel agents, tour operators, car rentals, etc., and we would have a very similar image. So just generally to see what happens, right? We're 50% at the bottom, 50-50, great. We're going to mid-level management, 42%, still a very strong percentage. Senior management is down to 1/3. C-suite, we're down to 20%. And the CEO on travel and tourism industry, there are only 7% women. In hotels specifically, we have a very similar picture. CEO here, the percentage was thanks to an Alison Britton that after that resigned. She decided to move to another sector, and we are now without any women. So why should we care about this? Why is this important? Why do we need female leadership in the sector? Firstly, just decency. And here I want to quote, just hold a second. I want to quote Julia Simpson, President and CEO at the WTTC. Gender diversity importance goes beyond the simple matter of equity and fairness. When half of the population is excluded from decision-making, it is not just moral wrong, it is also a hindrance to the development of individuals and society. And that is actually true. Goldman Sachs has established that if there was gender equality in the Eurozone, so it's close to home, the economy would improve 13%. And if we talk about GDP growth generally, it's normally, if we're lucky, it's a 2-3%. So 13% is a huge jump in the economy if we could achieve gender equality. More innovation with more diversity in the teams, including gender diversity, there is proven to be more innovation. Retain talent. How can you attract and motivate women to work in the sector if they don't have strong leadership? Especially ambitious women will choose other sectors when they see that they don't have a future for a strong career within this sector. And then, with question mark, improved results for the organizations. There are thousands of studies that are trying to prove this, that with more female leadership, you have better results. And the results are, honestly, inconclusive, depending on the research you're looking at and where it comes from. However, we are in the travel and tourism industry. Women travelers rule. Women travel in all kinds of shapes and colors, all kinds of trips. We travel in group, we travel alone, we travel in family, adventure travels, cultural travels, gastronomic travels, trips to sun and beaches. We're everywhere and we, in any way and form. Actually, 2/3 of all travelers are women. And even more, women make 80% of travel decisions. So if we keep this in mind, women is the key target group for our sector. 50% of travelers with income of more than $250 are women. So the majority of people with strong purchasing power that travel are women. 15% of women spend more than £200 a day, while for the male part, that is a 5%. And we have to keep in mind, women have other concerns and priorities and perhaps interests than their male counterparts. So, before I go to the next slide, do you think that a company with women throughout their organization on all levels and in all type of positions would cater better or worse than a company without women in the organizations to the needs of this key target group. So why the difficulties? Why aren't there any women? Why don't we see women CEOs and so few women in C-suites and in senior management? Well, here we come with thousands of different studies as well on the lack of women, not so much in our sector, but generally in the economy. Work-life balance with family responsibilities is one option. A masculine culture, difficult for the women to break that crystal roof. You promote men for their potential and women for their results. Women suffer less visibility outside and inside their organizations. Well, these are all potential explanations, depending on the situation and the type of organization. What we see, though, as women, we need to know what we want, and we need to ask for it. We need to prioritize our careers. We need to network. We need to ask for wage raises, promotions, attending events, for being in meetings and speak in meetings. We need to have ambition. Now, during COVID, during lockup, we were in our houses and we couldn't travel, we couldn't meet people, which for many of us in the sector, which normally travel quite a lot, we had a lot of time, we felt isolated, and we had huge problems in our companies, and painful problems. I felt that was the moment to network. So I started calling up women on management positions within the sector and propose a weekly Teams call to talk about what was happening, the hard parts, to cry together, to laugh together, to propose solutions, to talk about best practices. And in the beginning, we were 4 or 5 of us. I started calling more and more people. Other women joined through connections, and we ended up being 25 women. So when we were out of the confinement and the lockup, we started meeting in person, which was great, having a wine together, and we decided about a year and a half ago that with a group of people so talented, with such a diverse background, so focused and so ambitious, we could do something more than just having wine and having coffee together. So we decided to start an association. It took us a year and a half to do all the paperwork, which was quite painful, so we started officially an association by April this year. We are now about 50 women, 50 members that meet regularly, and we help and support each other. We try to keep this closeness between us. And we have determined 3 missions that we want to focus on. One thing is networking, that for women is so important and that we're not doing very well. To support us within the group, but also other women in the sector. And this support is important because women, we're not very good at, I must admit, and I hope you agree with me, that it's difficult for us to ask for favors, for example. We make friends at work. Maybe we know hundreds of people, but it's really difficult for us to pick up the phone and ask for a favor. You know, I need information, I need to do this. Could you put me in contact with that person? And that's something that we foster very much within the organization, to help each other. We aspire to represent the leadership in the sector. In Spain, I would say Spain is one of the leading countries in tourism and travel. It's amazing what Spain has done. And we want to help and bring something to that table in terms of innovation and creativeness and opinion, pulling from all these wonderful women we have within the organization. And last but not least, we want to give inspiration to the sector, and specifically to younger women, young, ambitious women, to enter into the sector, to dare to make a career here, and feel that they have the support from other women that have a consolidated career and can help them. So just a short list of people we are, of who we are. These are the women that inspire me every day. And I'm so happy and proud to be part of this project. Within these names, we have general managers of hotels, investors, architects, lawyers, asset managers, consultants, financial advisors, banks, a number of people in leading positions in the larger hotel groups like Meliá, NH, Accor, Barceló, etc. We have women from budget hotels such as B&B hotels up to luxury such as Bless and Canalejas. We have people from co-living and flex living and some leading tourism profiles as well. So we are here to help and support. If you have an event, you have difficulties, and I hear that a lot, of finding women profiles to speak, and often we end up with tables with only men. You have a great pool here of women that can help you with that. So feel free to contact me or someone else in the association to discuss that, or any type of collaboration. We are young. We were born in February. We're still consolidating, but we hope to do great things in the sector. Thank you very much.